Huh. Huh.
Rumble 2015 audio review. And of course, we do have a little video here. This is just an old survival world that we had going with my wife, daughter, and I. Pretty nice. I thought I'd give you a little look at the best room that we created. I thought that this was really nice, a water elevator going up and everything else. But anyway, we're on our way to a funeral. That's right, I said a funeral. Once again, this is the WWE Royal Rumble 2015 review. The Royal Rumble 2015 took place last night, January the 25th, 2015. You're going to have to bear with me. This was a hard one to digest, guys. If you're a diehard wrestling fan and you watch this show, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. This wasn't great. It was kind of the opposite. Anyway, let's get started. The match, or the Royal Rumble itself, excuse me, started off with the Ascension defeating the New Age Outlaws. The next match saw the Usos defending and retaining the WWE World Tag Team Championship against The Miz and Damien Mizdow. Then we saw Brie and Nikki, the Bellas, defeating the team of Paige and Natalia. And then we got to the co-main events of the evening. The World Heavyweight Championship Triple Threat was next with Brock Lesnar, the reigning and defending WWE World Heavyweight Champion, being accompanied to the ring, of course, by his advocate and spokesman and manager, Paul Heyman. Taking on the Money in the Bank winner and holder, Seth Rollins, and then, of course, the perennial face of the WWE, John Cena. Brock Lesnar did win this match. This was a hard-hitting match. Brock Lesnar carried a lot of the offense in the early going. He looked extremely impressive, extremely strong. At one point, he took 3 straight attitude adjustments. The first 2 that he took saw him immediately bouncing back up to his feet. Once he took the third one, it was more emphatic by John Cena, and that kept him down on the ground. He then took a curb stomp, but still managed to get out of the ring and stand on his feet and regain his composure very quickly. He just looked like a very dominating force. If the idea behind this match was to make Brock Lesnar look as strong as possible, they pretty much succeeded in that regard, and I think it would be the only thing that they really succeeded at tonight. There was a nice spot later on in the match that saw Seth Rollins deliver an elbow to a prone Brock Lesnar who had been laid out on the Spanish announce table. John Cena had placed him there, and then Seth Rollins dove off the top turnbuckle, delivering the elbow, putting he and Brock Lesnar both through the Spanish announce table. Brock Lesnar lay prone for several minutes. This allowed Seth Rollins and John Cena to re-enter the ring, have some nice exchanges, some nice near falls, and then all of a sudden in the background you saw paramedics with a stretcher moving towards Brock Lesnar. You had to wonder: is this legitimate? Is this or is this part of a storyline? The answer to that, I think, came about 5 minutes after all of this started. Seth Rollins managed to get the upper hand on John Cena. When a curb stomp didn't put him down, Seth Rollins decided to try for a corkscrew moonsault. He hit it, and immediately Brock Lesnar was in the ring, hoisting him off of John Cena, lifting him up, and delivering a very vicious German suplex. This was vicious, and in just about every suplex that Brock Lesnar delivered looked extremely painful, stiff, and hard to take. They did show a replay of the corkscrew moonsault. If you happen to look in the background towards the direction where Brock Lesnar was laying, you would have seen him making his way to his feet. And for a man that big to be so quick is really amazing. He has to be the best athlete that they've ever had, ever, in the WWE. As soon as Seth Rollins hit that corkscrew moonsault, as soon as he made contact with John Cena, Brock Lesnar was immediately in the ring to pull him off of John Cena to prevent the pin, and as I said, hoist him up like he was nothing and deliver a very, very emphatic German suplex. The finish came when Seth Rollins gained possession of the Money in the Bank briefcase. He retrieved his Money in the Bank briefcase and struck Brock Lesnar in the head with it twice. Brock Lesnar kept making it back up to his feet, and on the third one, Brock Lesnar caught Seth Rollins and instead delivered a hard-hitting F5 and scored the pin. Brock Lesnar then rolled out of the ring, clutching at his side, selling a possible broken rib, and left with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship before Seth Rollins could make his way back to his feet and possibly attempt to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. At this point, I thought, well, Brock Lesnar's walking out with the championship because Seth Rollins took the pin and he is out. There is a thought, and I had read this about a week or so ago, that Brock Lesnar would walk out with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble, only to lose it to Seth Rollins the following night on Raw. If they wanted to do that, they certainly set it up with this potential rib injury. I do think it's storyline because we saw Brock Lesnar later on in the night watching the monitor as the Royal Rumble winner celebrated, and Brock Lesnar looked no worse for the wear. He wasn't bandaged up or anything. Excuse me. But if they wanted to tell that story, they certainly could. I don't see Seth Rollins becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, though, before WrestleMania 31. If you go back and watch the first video of this channel, Fun Family Plays, our first video is Minecraft Cave Survival Episode 1. We actually talk about the Royal Rumble in depth, and this match, and the 30-man over-the-top rope Royal Rumble match itself. I gave my predictions. I was 2 for 2. I said Brock Lesnar would retain his championship, and moving on to the Royal Rumble, I said Roman Reigns would win the Royal Rumble. This was mid-card treatment at its best, guys. I mean, that's got to be the theme of this Rumble. And as I review it, you'll understand. And if you watched it, you have to understand. This was mid-card treatment at its best. And it took me about an hour after the show was over to realize that that's really what it was. This was Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon telling the fans of the WWE that last year you got what you want with Daniel Bryan, but accept it that this year you're not going to get what you want as it relates to Daniel Bryan, or Dolph Ziggler, or even Ryback, for that matter, who's been pretty hot since he came back and reestablished himself as a top babyface, a strong, no-nonsense babyface. So, anyway, The Miz and R-Truth started this match out at number 1 and number 2. You could tell that they were trying to fill some time, as R-Truth did sing his entire entrance theme and then added some additional what's-ups at the end. The first of 3 surprise returns happened in the number 3 spot. Bubba Ray Dudley, not Bully Ray from TNA, but Bubba Ray Dudley, as he was known in the WWE 10 years ago, made his return to the old Dudley Boys theme music. He was dressed just like he was 10 years ago as Bubba Ray Dudley with the camouflage, the same haircut. He did not look like Bully Ray. He did look like he had put on a few more pounds. But overall, he looked pretty good, looked pretty strong. Devon was not in this match at all. R-Truth took that role tonight, and but Bubba Ray wasn't in the match long enough to really do anything significant. He did do the get the tables chant, or the get the tables yell, and before they could do it, he was taken out. So he was eliminated fairly quickly. The other 2 surprise entrances tonight were Diamond Dallas Page and the Boogeyman. Diamond Dallas Page got a lot of time in the match, well, a lot relative to the other competitors in this match. He hit several diamond cutters on several superstars from different angles and different ways, and made himself look really good. He put over his DDP Yoga product with a nice DDP Yoga shirt. He looked pretty good. He looked pretty good for a guy his age who hasn't been in the ring, at this stage in a long time. So I'd have to say he looked pretty good. Would I want to see him in a one-on-one match at WrestleMania? Absolutely not. The Boogeyman also made his return. This seemed the most unnecessary of the returns tonight. But he came into the ring at a time when Bray Wyatt was all by himself, and I think the Boogeyman was maybe number 10, maybe 12 as far as entrance, but Bray Wyatt was all by himself, having eliminated a few guys, and just kind of waiting around. He had the big night as far as eliminations. I believe he tied for first with most eliminations at 6. I think it was 6 was the number. But anyway, Boogeyman came in, danced around a little bit. Bray Wyatt and he took turns trying to creep each other out for a minute, and then Bray Wyatt just, summarily eliminated him. The mid-card treatment, I mean, if you watch any Royal Rumble match, you can pretty much tell who the stars are and who the non-stars are, and tonight we figured out who the stars are and who the non-stars are. Daniel Bryan, Ryback, and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, they were like any other mid-carder on the roster. They came in, they hit some spots, and then they got out. And of the three, Daniel Bryan was certainly in the longest, and his elimination was certainly the biggest shock of the night. Fans continued a Daniel Bryan chant for a few minutes after he was eliminated. But it was just one of those nights, a collective, gasp and jaw-dropping moment. You just couldn't believe that he was eliminated as quickly as he was. Ryback the same. There were some people that were actually kind of believing some rumors out there that Ryback might win the Royal Rumble tonight and go on to face Brock Lesnar. And then Dolph Ziggler, who's been on the hottest run of all since Survivor Series, and who's been one of those guys to stand up to the authority and not back down. Just reinstated after being fired a few weeks ago. You thought he might come in and have a really great night. I actually predicted him to come to the match at number 1, and there we see a Bunny Cow. But he came in very late and was eliminated fairly quickly. He hit some super kicks, had some pretty nice spots, but overall was eliminated very quickly. The final 4 of this was not good. It came down to Kane and the Big Show against Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, and the story they were essentially trying to tell is that Kane and the Big Show, as the enforcers of the authority, were taking out all of the fan favorites in the match, and it was only a matter of time before these two and these two alone remained to fight it out and decide a winner. Ambrose and Reigns, we got to see a nice little Shield reunion as these two decided to take it to Big Show and Kane, but ultimately Dean Ambrose was eliminated from the match. This left it down to Big Show and Kane versus Roman Reigns. After some offense by Big Show and Kane, Roman Reigns managed to eliminate both guys at the same time. Didn't come off well. It seemed very anticlimactic. It seemed too quick to happen the way that it did, almost as if they were running out of time at this point. The crowd, the whole finish just kind of fell flat. The crowd booed Reigns. They booed him when he initially came out to the ring. They booed him a lot when he was on the offense against other wrestlers. And they certainly booed him when they thought he had won. He eliminated Kane and Big Show, and the bell rang, and you thought it was over. Kane and Big Show re-entered the ring to take him out. Then The Rock's music hit. The Rock, who some people were reporting was going to actually enter and win the Royal Rumble tonight. He didn't enter the Royal Rumble as a competitor, but he did come in and he made the save. He saved Roman Reigns from Kane and the Big Show, kind of giving some of the rub to Roman Reigns. And then things kind of got weird again. The crowd started chanting, "We want Rusev." And immediately I was thinking, when has the crowd ever cheered for Rusev? Turns out he hadn't been eliminated. He had been hiding under the ring the whole time. At some point in the match, he was thrown through the ropes, not over the ropes, and he had just been hiding out. Rusev entered the ring, and about 30 seconds later, he exited the ring. He was thrown out. Roman Reigns was officially declared the winner. Rock got back into the ring, raised Roman Reigns' hands to show that he was the winner of the 2015 Royal Rumble. The crowd booed. Rock kind of gave a look like he couldn't believe that they were booing this guy. Reigns handled it well. I'm pretty sure that Vince McMahon, Triple H, and some higher-ups backstage, I heard Pat Patterson was there. I'm pretty sure that they told him, "You're going to have a hard time tonight. This is a Philadelphia crowd. These are some diehards, the old ECW cast-offs. Just look at the sign, point at the sign, and pay no attention." There was the debacle with Batista last year where evidently he'd started cussing at some fans and kind of making a spectacle of himself after they booed him when he won the 2014 Royal Rumble. Reigns didn't do that. He held it. I mean, he held it together, and he carried himself well. I gave him that much credit at least that when the boos rained down, he kind of smirked and just pointed at the sign, and I thought, just point at the sign. Just remember that you're going to WrestleMania. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up in just a moment. I just want to say what we maybe can expect at WrestleMania right here. They've got about 9 weeks to get Roman Reigns ready, and he's not ready at this point. And I think anyone who watches the product and has watched wrestling for any number of years would look at Roman Reigns and say that you can tell this guy's not ready for this spotlight yet. Brock Lesnar, I think while he's a great wrestler and a great athlete, is someone that does have to be carried through a match. And I don't know if Roman Reigns is the guy to do that. This could be a really bad main event. The diehards show up in droves at WrestleMania, and the fact that Roman Reigns is in the main event and a guy like Daniel Bryan or Dolph Ziggler isn't, this doesn't bode well for him. I could see some kind of change to this match at some point in the next 9 weeks. I mean, they had to make a change last year. They had to put Daniel Bryan in because the fans just insisted on it, and I don't know if they're going to go that route, though. It seemed like tonight's Royal Rumble was Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H's way of telling the fans, you got what you wanted last year. Don't expect it to happen again this year. There was a story after Daniel Bryan won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 30. There was a story that came out. It's kind of a rumor, but it seemed pretty accurate, that he would go on to lose the championship to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and then Vince McMahon would essentially shut the door on his push, reinsert him into the mid-card, and keep him there for good. Based on his performance last night in the Royal Rumble, I would say that prediction is coming true. Dolph Ziggler I don't see as being the top guy anytime in the future. I think he's been there about 10 years now. To me, he deserves the push. I thought if Daniel Bryan wasn't going to win the Rumble, Dolph Ziggler should have. I thought he and Brock Lesnar could have had an outstanding match. Ryback, they really blew it with him back at Hell in a Cell when he faced CM Punk and lost his first match, his first big match. They blew it with him then, and they haven't really been able to fix it since. I guess that's it, guys. I mean, let me know what you thought of the show. Some of you may see this weeks or months after the fact, but still, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you didn't see the Royal Rumble, at least see it for the World Heavyweight Championship Triple Threat match, and watch the Royal Rumble itself. Watch the match itself. It's a nice, kind of a nice look or view into the mindset of Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, I think, and what they're thinking going forward. It was said it's been said for months now that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar was penciled in as the main event. It looks like that's where we're going. So until we get to WrestleMania 31, we'll have to see what happens. But until then, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for clicking on the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to Fun Family Plays, and have a great one.